Hi, welcome to Soundings with Sash. How are we doing this evening? If you've joined me, say hello in the comments. I would like to know who's here. Just give a shout out. And I'm really excited for my guest this evening. Her energy, when I saw her page, just jumped off the screen. I was like, I have to know this lady. And I'm going to introduce her right now. She is Anna Hoy, the Savvy Sales Coach. Hey, welcome, Anna.
Hi, Sandy. So nice of you to have me here. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so excited about our subject, and you are just this dynamo. I already know because I've gotten to talk to you, but your energy jumped off the page. Have you ever just had that connection? I was like, yes.
Yes. When that happens, you have to go with it because it's
Yes.
the universe telling you that you do need to connect with that person. And you maybe don't know right off the bat what that connection is going to mean. But I agree with you 100%. I'm glad that we connected.
Yes. So welcome, Anna. And I have some friends on here. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining. And Amy, thanks for joining us tonight. So we have an exciting subject matter. And so she picked the subject matter that she wanted to talk about, and I just love it. So let me know what it is that we're talking about tonight.
Yes, we are talking about what is your superpower? That sounds so, like what? Are we talking about Marvel Comics? No, what we're talking about is each one of us has our own special expertise, skills, and gifts that only we have to offer the world. And that's what your superpower is. And can you imagine if you not only knew what your superpower was, but once you knew it, what could you accomplish? And how I got into it is I read a few articles on superpower, and I started diving in and trying to figure out what was my superpower, as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife, as we all are, us women have a lot of things on our shoulder. And I was struggling to kind of find what was my true north, what was my superpower. And so in reading the article, I just thought this subject just resonated so much with me. It might resonate with others as well. So I wanted to share a little bit about what your superpower is. So it's your gifts, talents, abilities, and experiences that only you have. So there's only one Sandy Archer. There's only one Anna Hoy. And even if we lived in the same town, we went to the same school, we were the same age, and we had the same job, and we both were married with kids, we still have different talents, skills, and gifts to offer the world. And so when I was struggling to find out what my superpower was, and I'll share with you how you can find yours, but what I did was I started reaching out to some friends and family and saying, what is it that I'm really good at? And interestingly enough, once I put that out in the universe, my phone started ringing and people were calling me and asking me, hey, can you help me with my sales? A few people had to change jobs last year and they went from a position into sales, which was new for them. Other people have been in sales for a long time and they were struggling to convert sales. And I thought, they're calling me for sales. That's interesting. I never really realized that was my gift. So then I started talking to friends and family and saying, what am I really, really awesome at? And they said, you're really good at closing sales. And years ago, when I worked for the newspaper business, I was there for about 10 years. My nickname was actually the closer. And they had a customer, they were trying to figure out how to get into that account or how to convert that customer. They would call me in. And it wasn't that I was, a car salesman that would go in there and hard close people, but my gift was seeing what are the holes. So I could walk into a business and I can look and see what's going really well and what are the holes, and I could see them right away and I could find the solutions quickly. So I was able to put that together into a sales career that now spans over 20 years. And that's kind of what led me into becoming the Savvy Sales Coach. So I would love to hear from you, Sandy, what you think your superpower is. And then if it's all right with you, I'd love to share how some tips you can help our audience find what their superpower is. And then I would love them to share if they know what their superpower is. I'd love them to share that in the comments.
Yes. I think mine has always, I've been an encourager. So encouraging is absolutely something I'm always been good at, listening and encouraging. So my superpower is being able to listen and to be able to relate to almost anyone that I come into contact with. And I can, listen and see, like you said, the holes in the sales thing. I can kind of see where there's some brokenness and where the people need to have some encouragement. And what I have to offer them is to help them along their journey into to get into wellness. So
wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And I'm proud of you that you already know what your superpower is and you're using it to your advantage. I mean, so many people out there are not good listeners. And sometimes we just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And
that's it. Sometimes just be listener. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not always good listeners, especially salespeople. We like to talk a lot and we're not always the best listeners. So that's amazing that you figured that out. Yes. So for anybody that's watching today, I'd love to tell you a little bit about a couple of ways, if you don't know offhand what your superpower is, what you can do to try to find what is your superpower. So the first thing you can do is find out or ask yourself, what comes natural or easy for you? So I have a friend and she is the best organizer in the planet. She can come into your house, your closet, anything, and she can just in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, your house is organized. And I am completely the opposite of that. But her superpower, and she found out because she's been doing it since she was a kid, just comes natural to her. She doesn't even find it as work or it's just natural thing. She's just great at, oh, hey, let me come in your office and organize it for you.
Nice.
So what comes natural to you? What are you really, really good at? It could be even something, if you think back to your childhood, what things that you love to do, or even today, what brings you joy? Like I have a friend and she loves writing. I'm a terrible writer. She can sit down for hours and start writing, and before you know it, 4 hours has gone by. Her superpower is writing. She's able to take a simple sentence and turn it into this amazing story.
Wow.
And she has a gift of putting words, pen to paper. And what do you get lost in hours in doing something?
Right.
So for example, I had a customer and they had a gym and they thought, well, I don't think I can do private one-on-one sessions. I'm just used to doing these group trainings and I don't think that that's my gift and ability. And when they really started thinking about their customer base and who they help and what they love doing, what they found is that what they really love doing more than the group is working individually with people. So he could really impact their lives and see the change. So the reward for him was so great, but that's what came more natural to him. So asking yourself what comes easily or natural, you can always make a list too of a lot of things you're really good at, because we're usually more than, there's more than one thing that we're really good at, right, Sandra? So make a list of a whole bunch of things that you're really good at, and then take that list of things you're really good at and look at it and see what pops out on the page for you. What is the one thing that brings you the most joy and that comes so really natural to you? That's probably your superpower.
That what energizes you, makes you happy, like just gets you
and
going.
And also it increases your self-belief when you know what your superpower is.
Right.
When I was telling you in the beginning when I wasn't sure what my superpower was, it really did affect my self-esteem and my thoughts about my business and where I was going to go with it. And then once I figured it out, I felt like, oh, I have something valuable to offer. And another thing I want our listeners, our viewers to keep in mind is there's somebody out there that needs you, that needs what you have to offer. So you're a great listener and you're empathetic. There's people out there that need that. And if you are somebody that's really good at finances, there might be somebody out there that's struggling to keep their lights on and they need to talk to you, because your superpower is you can help them see how they can get out of that situation. Or maybe you're great at helping people find the right career. I have a lady that I follow on LinkedIn and we've become friends. She works with people women and men, but mostly women over 40 to help them find their next career.
Right.
And can you imagine being, in your 40s or even 50s and trying to figure out what am I going to be when I grow up? And
Yes.
she can help you figure it out. And that's her superpower.
Right.
So knowing that you can help and impact other people's life. Imagine if you're a, connector, and you can connect couples. So you can put a husband and wife together, future, husband and wife, and you can be a matchmaker. Can you imagine how that can impact somebody's lives?
Yes. Yes.
Candy,
That's
can you pick them
amazing.
up? Sorry about that. My dogs are fighting. I told them I was going to be live, but they didn't listen. So sorry about that.
Okay. So if you're listening and you want to find out what your superpower is, why don't you put in the comments, what comes easily to you? What is that natural notion of yours to do for people? There's some people out there. I mean, I know this one lady that makes the best bows. Like at Christmas time, she used to make the most, and we would all just be like, "Wow, you are amazing at that." We would tell her, we're like, "You should do that as a business," because I mean, she could just make the most elaborate bows at Christmas, like just these beautiful things. And she'd
That's
go,
amazing.
"Oh no, I just do it for fun." And like other ladies, would bring baking goods. I mean, it could be kind of anything, that you have that natural inclination to.
Yeah. And then some people might be saying, well, I don't really know what my superpower is.
Right.
And so my advice is to really get together with like your best friend or your partner, your spouse, your family members, and just kind of ask them to tell you, what am I awesome at? They'll be open to tell you what you're awesome at. I was just talking to my mother-in-law today, and she's in her 70s, and I was like, you have a superpower. And she's like, I do? And I'm like, yeah. And we started talking it through, and I'm like, she is the most supportive person, and she puts herself last and puts everybody first and is just so giving. And that's actually a gift, because not everybody has that ability to do that. Yeah. And once you know what your superpower is, kind of take a look around your life and see, are you heading to your true north? I started reading this book by Martha Beck, and it's called Finding Your True North. Have you heard of her?
I have.
And in the book, I'm on like chapter 4, so I'm just getting in there. And what I'm finding out is when somebody is heading north and they're going in the direction of their life that they're supposed to go to, things just come easily, they flow. It just seems like the universe opens up to them, right?
Right.
And I'm also finding, for me, when I was going the opposite way, it seems like doors close. Things are difficult. And I don't know if I told you when we talked, but I started a travel business in 2019. I was like, I'm passionate about travel. I love travel. And unfortunately, the pandemic happened. And so it kind of put a damper in things. But what it did is it made me stop and realize the direction I'm going might not be the right direction. Like I thought that's what I wanted. I thought I want to, have a travel business and help people, plan the vacation of their dreams. And yes, I still like doing that, but that's not really what my superpower is leading me to. And so another thing in finding the holes and helping people with sales is I really get a lot of satisfaction and joy of helping other people. And so being able to use my gift of seeing the holes and helping somebody with their sales process or whatever the case may be. And imagine if you're a coach and you can close one more customer a month. You're actually having one more person that you can help now because you were able to, I hate the word close, to help that customer, right? And if you have some products that you're selling, like I know people that make handmade jewelry. I could never do that. I am not good with my hands, with using my hands. I can't make anything. I make dinner and that's about it. I'm just not a crafty person. And so she makes handmade, the most beautiful custom jewelry. Can you imagine how that would impact her business if she could, reach one more person with that personalized piece of jewelry that sometimes even becomes an heirloom that they hand down to family and family, down the line. So for me, the reason I'm passionate about finding your superpower is because when you find your superpower, it just opens you up It opens you
Right.
up. It opens up the doors. You're heading in the right direction. And imagine how many lives you can impact. You know, a lot of people ask you in sales, what's your bottom line? What's your goal, right?
Mhm.
Well, I like to ask people, what's your impact goal? How many lives do you want to impact? How many
That's
hearts
great.
do you want to open? How many minds do you want to awaken? Or how many people do you want to inspire? Isn't that more rewarding than, you know, going to a 9 to 5 job that you hate? And
Yes.
before I even started my travel business, I was, like I said, I was in sales, and I ended up at this company for a year and a half. I was working at this company. I wasn't,
Uh-huh.
every day I went to work and I wasn't having any fun.
Right.
So what ended up happening is I decided I'm going to go talk to the bosses. And I went to my manager and I said, you know, I'm not having any fun here. It's not challenging enough. I feel like I'm not using my gifts and my abilities. What other opportunities are there? And I was hoping, because we were in a growth mode, that he was going to say, oh, hey, we have this opportunity and that opportunity. But he actually helped me. And what he said to me was, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Do you want to start looking? At the time, I was,
Whoa.
yeah, your reaction was my
Whoa.
reaction. Yeah. So I was taken aback and I just thought, wow, they don't care about me at this job. And
Right.
it was a pivotal moment. I'm in my 50s. It was a pivotal moment in my life where I realized I'm not doing what I meant to do. And
Right.
so I tried to take it in my own hands and start this business that I thought, which is
Right.
what I wanted to do. But
Right.
thanks to the pandemic and thanks to finding my superpower and listening to myself,
Mhm.
now I'm doing something where I can actually use my gifts, skills, and abilities and impact other people's lives, their business, their bottom line. And I'm just finding so much more joy
Right.
and in doing it. And you know, when you first get started, I've been doing this maybe 6 months. So I've only been launched my business 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
But every single person that I've been able to impact with my coaching
Mhm.
is super important to me. And I feel like
That's
so
awesome.
blessed to be able to help them.
That is so
You know, so I
awesome.
think everybody should uncover what their superpower is. Don't you agree,
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes, and I started the Artistry of Purpose. I started a Facebook group on this page for the same reason, to help people to find their purpose, to find, you know, who they are, and you know, and in our age group, and it's really is geared towards us in the Middle Ages, because you know we've kind of went through all of these different labels. So you know, you were a wife, mother, you know, you were in a career that maybe you thought was your destiny or whatever, and then you got to this place and you went, I'm not happy. I was in that career. I made it to almost to the top of my, you know, career ladder, and was totally miserable. So I was not in my true purpose. I wasn't able to be encouraging. I was just a manager. You know, I had to manage people, the face of management. I wasn't able to lead people, and it really took a toll. And that's why it's really important and passionate to me that people find their superpower and their purpose. So that's, similar things, obviously. Finding your purpose and walking in your purpose, like you're saying, impacts others. It isn't all about you. It's usually, it's about how you can help others and how you can serve others. It doesn't have anything really, but it is going to energize you. It is going to give you that inspiration to continually to do it. And if you're stuck in a job that you don't like, you're just not really living your life, the way
Yeah.
that you're supposed to. And so it's really passionate to me for people to find their superpower and to find out what really gets them going, and I do the same thing. I ask, my clients, when you were younger, what made you happy? What'd you do as a kid? What were you sitting there doing as a kid? How some kids sit in the classroom and they're looking out the window, they're not paying attention to their teacher. Those are the visionaries. Those are the people that are dreaming about doing other things that the teacher doesn't even touch on, so
Right.
I just
Or
love
if
that.
somebody was really great at math, like my nephew, ever since he was in kindergarten, it just came so natural to him. He ended up becoming a math teacher when he grew up, went to college, and
Oh, wow.
he's a math teacher. And even his wife's a math teacher. So just math is in his blood. And I mean, past, basic math, fractions, decimals, and a little bit of algebra, I'm done. That's where I draw.
Right.
What do I need to know in math? And that's it. But in
Yeah.
regards to purpose and your power, I love what you were saying, Sandy, because in finding your superpower and working with somebody like you, it can help you to find what is your purpose. And if you're living your purpose, imagine how that would feel if you're somebody that's not living your purpose and you're able to find what your purpose is, how that can change your life. And, you know, if it changes your life, it impacts everybody around you. So if you're married, your spouse, your children, the people that you're around, because have you ever been around like somebody that's just totally miserable?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I have
heard about it every day.
And she was just so negative, and she was so negative and nasty. And one day I just started thinking about her and praying for her and thinking, what is it about her? Why is she so angry? And it came to me, she's miserable. She's really unhappy. And so instead of being like, God, she's being so terrible, I reached out to her and I said, what's going on? I feel like, you know, you're really unhappy. And she started sobbing and she was like, I'm really unhappy. And, you know, a lot of people in this past year, especially with the pandemic and with lockdown, we've all had a lot of things. You know, each person has had something individual to deal with. I mean, a lot of moms had to be, you know, not only mom and employee, you know, worker, and they had to be teacher and everything, and fathers too. And it put a lot of stress and strain on the parents, the couple, people that never worked at home and maybe weren't great on technology. All of a sudden you had to work remotely and, you know, be at home with dogs barking, like my dogs were barking earlier, people knocking on the door. And, you know, sometimes it's, you know, it's a lot. Or starting the business in the pandemic, a lot of businesses were so negatively impacted that people had to completely change careers. So it's been a really challenging time. But the blessing that I'm seeing coming out of it is it's making people stop and smell the roses. It's making people practice gratitude. Like, what are you grateful for?
That's right.
I mean, I noticed for me, when I start practicing gratitude, I really start seeing the things I'm grateful for. You know, if I walk around going, oh, I'm not grateful for anything, what am I grateful for? And then if you really write down, you know, what are you grateful for that day, you start to realize, oh, wow, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. And you start noticing those things. So I have a friend and she has this hobby. She likes to find anything that's shaped like a heart. So she'll walk around in nature and she will find branches shaped like a heart, leaves, rocks, even animals, you know, just anything you could think of. Clouds. She sent me a cloud the other day. Wow. And interestingly enough, then my son went in the freezer and found some ice had melded together and it was shaped like a heart. So I took a picture and sent it to her. But it's, you know, that old saying, what you look for, you find, right?
That's right.
So if we're grateful and we practice gratitude, that's what we're going to find. Right. And if we find our superpower, it's going to help us to get closer to finding our purpose.
Yes. Yes. So I have a question for you because I am an encourager and I want, you know, I know that my business, it should be business. How do I transfer from just being a servant into a business with that? Because that is a challenge, is when you have a servant heart and you're wanting to serve people, to charge them. Right. So to me, you know, I have to have a shift in my head about it, a mindset shift. How do I get from, okay, I'm not going to feel guilty for charging for this, you know, if it's my innate natural ability, you know, what is your advice on that for people that are kind of in my kind of coaching and shifting that? Because I know that's a struggle for a lot of life coaches that I know.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a mindset shift. And it's shifting your mind from selling is something you do to somebody, as selling is something you do for somebody, and that selling is serving, and figuring out what is the value of what you're offering. Right. So, you could even be doing some research and seeing, what does that look like? You know, like, how would somebody pay me for that? And then when you start realizing, well, yeah, if somebody's in such and such situation, you know, it's really identifying who's your ideal customer. Who's your ideal
That's right.
client?
Yes.
Who can you serve? How can you serve them? And then what is the value of that to that person? So if
Right.
somebody is thriving in their life, they might not want to give you some money for you to help them figure out their purpose, right? But if
Right.
somebody is like I was in their 40s or 50s and trying to figure out what's their next move and not happy in their life, you can't put a price tag on that. They will
No.
pay you for you to help them. So
Right.
it's just understanding that you're not taking anything from them.
Right. Right.
People also, they don't buy what they want. They don't buy what they need. They buy what they want.
Right.
So it's showing them in your discovery call that you have something valuable to offer
Right.
them. So when I work with folks, I help them with their sales process. So from the very beginning, before you even get on the call with somebody, I like to send them a questionnaire. And the questionnaire can ask some questions to guide you on the discovery call so you know where to go and how, on the discovery call, there's no selling or coaching. So
Right.
you're there to find out on the discovery call if you're the right person to help them and if they're the right client. And if they are, that's when you extend your offer, because people don't come to you with a problem and want you to coach them on the discovery call. And then they're like, I don't need your help now. Thanks. You solved my problem. So, right.
Right.
So
That's
what
right.
your goal is on the discovery call is to find out what is their pain point, what's their issue, and what have they tried, what's worked, what hasn't
Right.
worked, what
Right.
happens if they don't make a change.
Yes.
And then after you find all that information out, then you tell them what you have to offer. And you say, this is what I do. And this is how I help. I help you identify your passion and your purpose. And this is how I do that. And by uncovering your passion and purpose, these are the results that you're going to get. And we work together this way. And this is my fee.
Right.
And then once you offer them the program, and you're going to have to practice sometimes too, if you're not used to saying, here's my fee, you'll need to practice that. And the more you practice it, then the more comfortable you'll get it, because what you have to offer is valuable and somebody should pay you for it. And once you say,
and that's the shift that needs to happen, is you're going, I know I have value. I know that it is, but I also have that heart that wants to give it for free, right? So that's the problem, is when you get into that rut,
and I think that's awesome that you have the heart to give. And so just shifting your mind to thinking that you are actually serving them by having them pay you a fee. I don't know if you've ever bought a product, let's call it a car. And if you go to buy a car and it's a $10,000 car, you're expecting to drive and have the results of a $10,000 car. The comfort, the smoothness, the features. And if you pay $80,000 for a car, you expect that car to be more luxurious, more comfortable, have more bells and whistles, drive smoothly, have more power, whatever it is you're looking for. So there's perceived value in what you charge. So if you think of it that if you don't charge, they maybe are not going to value what you have to offer them much as when you charge them a fee. Even if it's your best friend and they call you and say, can you help me with my purpose? You say, yes, I can. My fee is whatever it is. This is what I do for you. And it's $500.
That actually happened.
Yeah. And it's $500, whatever the cost is. And then you just listen, because sometimes when they give you an objection, it just means I need more information.
Right.
So if somebody says, well, I want to think about it, or I'm not sure if this is the right program, you say, I totally understand. What questions do you or concerns do you have that I can answer for you? Because mostly it's a question or a concern.
Right.
And then a lot of times fear seeps in, when you're trying to make a big change, like finding your purpose, that's really deep in there, right?
Yes.
It's kind of personal. Like
it's
what
kind
I'm
of,
doing
it's under a lot of layers. It's under a lot of layers. I mean, it's not, if you don't know what it is and you're confused at this time in your life, that means you've buried it under all those labels and all of that brokenness. That's why you can't find it at the moment, is because you just put these masks on and labels and all these things, and it's kind of like trying to unearth that, that childlike, purpose that you had, and
that takes a gift, and that's the gift that you have. And so what you do is completely different to what I do. What you're doing is really touching somebody's heartstrings. And so it takes somebody like you who is empathetic and who is a great listener to hear what the other person is saying and pick up clues of what they're saying. So at the end of the
And what
call,
they're not saying.
you know what they need. You're
Yeah.
able to tell them what it is that they need. And the reason they came to you is because they need that.
Right.
So finding your superpower can help you to help so many people. And if you
Yes.
need to shift your mind and say, hey, this is my superpower. This is only Sandy Archer has this. And there may be other people out there that do similar things to you, but they're not you. They don't do
Right.
it your way. They don't have your skills, gifts, and abilities. They don't have your superpower. So people need to call Sandy because Sandy has the superpower that
Right.
can help pull out the pieces and identify what somebody needs to do in order to shift and get into their life's purpose.
Yes.
And Anna, the Savvy Sales Coach,
Mhm.
I'm able to see the holes in their sales process and say, oh, you're missing this one piece. And if we can fix that one piece, your sales are going to start to flow. And I can see that immediately.
Wow.
When I'm working with somebody right now, and she's really good at sales. She's really good at doing a discovery call and finding out what the customer needs. But we talked about mindset and adversity to sales because she had been sold to in a really aggressive manner by a timeshare guy. Have you ever been to a timeshare and they will not let you leave and they're aggressive, and she had that in her mind. And so there was a value conflict because she didn't want to be like that person. And granted, she's had some great experiences with salespeople, but that negative one stood out so strongly inside that she was struggling, sort of like what you said about struggling to push past the mindset of selling is serving. What you have to offer has value. The person on the other end needs you. I mean, there's people that could be crying themselves to sleep because they need to know what their life purpose is, or because they're not able to close sales and it's impacting their business, and they need us. So knowing your superpower is one step, but then once you know your superpower, then you need to take that and do something with it, right? Be it whether you're in business for yourself or you work for somebody else or you're using it in your personal life, whatever the case may be. Now that you know what your superpower is, you need to take advantage of knowing that and help others. And then you're going to find your true passion and purpose. And imagine how many lives, like we mentioned earlier, you can impact. Or hearts or minds or whatever the case may be. So for you, Sandy, I'm happy to send you a few tips and tricks I have on how to shift your mindset.
Yes.
Because for you, I think it's just a couple of little tweaks to know that the person that you're talking to really needs you, and that if you let them go, they might not get the help that they need.
Right.
And I know from personal stories, I needed some help in something for years, and I didn't reach out and ask for help.
Right. And that is hard for people to do. That is hard for people.
Right. So if they're reaching out asking for help, you're actually doing them a disservice if you don't ask them for the business.
That's true.
If you think of it that way, you're doing them a disservice if you don't ask them.
Right. And so what kind of clients do you work with? I mean, is it any industry? Are you attracted to like certain industries or just anyone?
So I work with service-based providers. So people that sell products or services, but mostly it's service providers. So coaches, consultants, small business owners. I'm able to go in, and if you have a team, even sit down and identify, what are you doing? What is everybody doing? What is your process from the start to finish? So the sales process actually starts from when you're prospecting.
Right.
And then, so for us coaches, when someone schedules a call with us, what's your pre-call plan? A lot of people say, well, I don't do anything. I just call them on the day of the discovery call. Well, you have to have a pre-call plan. So I send out a questionnaire. I send them a thank you for scheduling with me. And then when you get on the call with them, I like to look at their website, their Facebook page, learn a little bit about them before I get on the call with them. So it's not just a cold call. I know a little bit about that person. And then I have some questions that I'm going to ask that's going to kind of guide me through to see how I can help this person and help me to uncover their pain point. So, and when you start the discovery call, it's setting up the discovery call. You need to
Mm-hmm.
let the person on the other end know what's the expectations. We're going to be on this call for 30 minutes. I'm going to ask you some questions to uncover X, Y, Z. And then I'm going to tell you what I do and what I have to offer. And if we have a good fit, I'm going to invite you to work with me. Another thing I want people to realize is you don't have to work with everybody that comes to you.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
A lot of people, they might not be the right fit for you, or you might not be the right fit for them.
Right.
And so it's okay to, we call it bless and release them. You say, you know what, I don't think my program is the right fit for you. However, I have this great resource, and the resource could be another coach. It could be a book, a course that you're familiar with that you think would really help that person, because we still want to serve them.
That's right.
They came to you for help. I still want to serve you, but maybe I'm not the right coach for you. So that's what's great about having relationships with people like you, Sandy, and some other folks that I've created relationships with, because now we have a referral database of quality coaches, consultants, that we can send people to if we're not the right fit for them.
Right.
So sometimes it's bless and release.
I like that. I really like that. Bless and release. Okay. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. And then for you, I would just suggest you write down on a piece of paper, selling is serving, and my superpower is this. And then practice just even to yourself saying what your program is and the cost.
Yes.
And just say it over and over again. And the more that you say it, the more comfortable you'll get. And once you have people that a lot of people that you've helped with that program, you're going to feel really good inside that this program has good results. You can share with them, these are the results that you get after working with me. You can
I've been reading Grant Cardone's 10X rule book, and really kind of getting into his stuff. And then, I have another one, I've been kind of bouncing around with different salespeople, and I've never thought of myself as a salesperson. So I didn't think I needed to be, because I'm like, I don't need to be a salesperson. Anybody in business needs to be a salesperson. I mean,
anybody that in business
that has a business
is a salesperson,
you're
whether
a
they know
salesperson
it or not. You're a salesperson.
Right. And you need to be, and you need to know the right way. So that's why it was so good to link up with you, because it's like, I know I needed that. I've always said, and I did the I can't. I did a lot of that. I did the I don't and I can't. And I was like, I got to get out of the can't speak, because I was saying I can't close. And it's like, well, it's not really closing. Like I in my industry, is it close? Yeah, it still is. So,
well, that's interesting you said that, because I just did a thing where I went to a former coach, and I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking about 10 words that you should never say in sales. When you're talking to somebody, you should never say price. You should never say sell. You should never say buy. And you should never say contract. Those are a few of the 10 words. Because when you hear sign, we automatically think to our childhood, when we grew up and our parents said, don't sign anything.
Right.
You hear the word contract and you immediately go, oh, I don't know if I want a contract.
Right. Because you're thinking of a lawyer right off the bat. You're like, I need a lawyer.
Right. If somebody says, I'm going to sell you something, I don't want you to sell me anything. So it's a matter of changing those words. Instead of saying, I'm going to sell you, you shift the words and you say it differently. You say, I'm going to serve you. I have an opportunity.
An opportunity.
An opportunity, not I'm going to close you.
Right. Right.
Nobody wants to be closed.
No.
But honestly, we're closed all day long, every day. On social media, people are selling to us. We're being sold on TV, radio, walking into stores. We're being sold to all day long. We just don't think of it as being sold to.
Right.
So when you go into a discovery call, before you go in, just clear your mind and say, I am selling and serving. I'm serving this person.
Right.
And you get yourself in the right mindset before you go into the discovery call. And then practice your offer, what it is you have to offer and what the price is. Just practice it a few times.
Right.
And you'll be amazed what a difference that makes. And think about how many more people that you can help. The more comfortable that you get doing it too, your confidence will go up. And the person on the other end, of the phone or the Zoom, they can feel your confidence or your nerves. If you go, okay, so my program is, well, it's this much. They're going to go,
no.
this person, I'm not confident working with this person. And
No.
you know what they'll do? They'll go find somebody else that does what you do, and they'll buy from them. So we don't want that to happen, right?
No.
So the more that you say it, the more confident that you are, because all the people on the call today, you all have a superpower, and I want you to find your superpower and then do something with it, because you do have something of value to offer, and you are important, and people need what you have to offer.
Yes. And
so just know that you're valuable.
Discovering it. Yeah. And that's getting to the discovery piece of it. And that's what my goal is, to help them, is to find what their purpose is. And I always say, I know it's cliche, so you can live your best life. So, what does your best life look like? How do you want it to look? Well, how can you get there if you don't even know what your purpose is to get there? So, I mean, everything is a plan.
I like that.
Yeah. Everything is a plan.
Like? What does it feel like? What do you be doing? Somebody asked me that one time, how much money do you want to make? And I was like, I never thought about that. And they're like, yeah, how much money do you want to make? This much. Okay, well, what does that look like? Oh, it looks like this. And then they asked me, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
Feel what it's like.
Good.
Make that money. So, or whatever it is that your goal is. So feel what it'd be like, I'm working on my health right now. So if I got to my ideal weight, what would that feel like? And then I go back to when I was at that weight and what I felt like.
Yeah.
And so, that's a good one. Asking them, what does that feel like?
What does that feel like? Yeah. The whys. I mean, the why and why, why are you on that journey? I mean, why do you want to get to there? And I've got this little sign, who, what, why, and that's it. You have to ask the questions. Sometimes we don't ask the questions. We're just in autopilot. We're constantly we're just doing a routine, a schedule, and we don't even think about it. We don't even put our own, personality into it or our life into it. If you don't know what your purpose is and what you're doing, your life is always going to feel kind of out of control. And that's where anxiety comes in. And that's where those things come in. So really getting to the foundation of what your purpose is and why you're doing something, it's needed. You have to have a foundation and your values to come along with that. So
I can agree with you more. In that book I was telling you that I'm reading, Finding Your True North, the author, Martha, she talks about her story a little bit, how when she was going to go to college, she wanted to study art. That was her passion. But everybody kind of poo-pooed her, like, well, how are you going to make money with an art degree? What are you going to do with an art degree? So she was like, I guess I can't make any money doing that. So she decided to go to school to be a professor and teach XYZ. And she did it for 20 years and she was miserable. And one day she realized, I don't want to do this. So she quit her job and she did what she loved.
Oh, that's great.
It was 20 years later. So it doesn't matter when. I want people to realize it's never too late.
It isn't.
Love. It's never too late to find your superpower. It's never too late to find your passion. It's never too late to start a business or make a change. I mean,
that's right.
How many women do we know that are in their 40s or 50s that are starting businesses?
And that's right now. I know many. It's almost like that's our pinnacle time. Like all of a sudden, and you're going, oh man, I'm an entrepreneur at 50. What? How did that happen? What?
Yeah, well,
why am I doing that?
Yeah, I got married in my 20s and had kids like back to back to back. So my 20s, I always tell my husband, I don't think I was a grown up till I was 30 and I had 4 kids. Yeah. And then in my 30s I had some healing to do. So I started doing some healing work. And then in my 40s was trying to discover who I am and working on that. And then now having grown kids, we go through different seasons. For some people that their career came first. So in their 20s and 30s, they were building their career. And then the 40s and 50s, they're raising their kids. Yes. But for me and a lot of people my age, we got married in our 20s and had our kids.
Yes.
So now is our time to do our career.
Yes.
Or find our passion, purpose, superpower.
First time I've been single, like no kids, no dogs, no, nothing.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
And I'm going,
you're
what am I going
probably
to do at this time?
You're the fourth or fifth woman that I've talked to, lady that I talked to this past month that's in a similar age group as us that's transitioning and changing things in their lives. And that's just the season that we're in, and we got to embrace it. If you're 30, embrace it. If you're 40, embrace it. If you're 50, 60, embrace it. That's the season that we're in.
I love this confidence. Like, I'm like, oh man, if I only would have been this confident younger, man, I wish I would.
You don't want to have regrets, right?
Right. And the confidence does come from really knowing yourself, embracing yourself, loving yourself enough to find what that purpose is and say, hey, I dismiss all labels that were put on me, and just getting out of all that and feeling, good about yourself, not in a, a vainful way, but just really liking who you are and where you're at. That is just the importance of this time. And if any young ladies are listening, try to get there sooner if you can.
Yeah, and it's not too late. I was on
dilly-dallying.
I was on a Clubhouse room the other day, and there was a lady on there. You may be familiar with her name, Forbes Riley.
Oh yeah, Forbes.
And she's in her 60s.
Yes.
And she's still, dare I say, kicking butt and taking names.
Oh yeah.
And so it doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too early and it's never too late. So
is she the one that was homeless? Wasn't she homeless?
I think she was homeless at one time. And they tell their stories on here, and we all have our stories too. And that's another thing when you're doing sales is share yourself, share your story, because it will resonate with somebody else. Somebody else out there will have a similar experience to you, Sandy, or to me, and it will resonate with them. And then they'll say like, oh, this person gets me.
Right. The connection.
They'll have that connection, and once you have that connection, then you can find out how you can serve that person too, because
and that is what it's about, right? It is about serving. It's not about I think the word sales gets such a bad kind of connotation, when somebody says sales. I mean, if you break that down, well, everything is sales. I mean, when I go to get a coffee, it's a sale. They
ask you, do you want to buy something else? They're trying to upsell you, right? You get a coffee from Starbucks. They're like, do you want a croissant? Do you want a yogurt?
Yeah, you want a scone? Of course I want one, but I can't have one.
You go to the car wash and they go, do you want a wax too? Like they're upselling you. What is it? The McDonald's, you supersize that?
Right. And so that's the funny thing is like certain things we're just okay with. The upsell, we're okay with that. Like it's expected. There's an expectancy to that. And then there's other things that we're like, oh, that person's trying to sell me. And it's like, well,
and it really is, it is a lot of things, but one of them is the verbiage that you use, so if somebody says, hey, Sandy, can I get on a call with you? I want to sell you my product. You're right away like, I don't want to talk to you about, or if somebody says, hey, I have this amazing product, I want to share it with you and see if it's something that makes sense for you and see if it's something you want to get involved with or you want to inquire. So instead of saying sales, you say get involved with or acquire. Then you go, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
And then you're more open to hearing what they have to say. They're going to try to sell you. Right? It's changing the word from sell to get involved with or acquire, or if there's an opportunity I want to present to you.
What is that company that sells like household stuff? Oh, what is their name? And Amway. You're like,
Amway.
You're like, they're an Amway, and it before you even go. You still go. That's what's so funny. It's like,
and you talked earlier about mindset, right? About mindset with saying sales. So I have a friend. She works for Arbonne, so that's considered network marketing,
right?
And when she first got involved, she had to shift her mind into that. I'm forcing things on people to, I have this amazing product, and all I'm doing is letting people know I have this amazing product. And if it's a product that can benefit their life, that they can buy it from me. She had to shift her mind Because at first she was like, oh, I have to call all my friends and family and tell them what I have. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is share stories about how I use the product, how other people I know use it, how it's benefited them. And so in doing that, and she schedules a lot of one-to-ones with people, and she just shared, learns about that person and then says, these are the products that I think would be best for you, and sees if it's a good fit. And that's what we do on the discovery call. I help you see the holes in your sales process and help you overcome that so you can authentically close sales, and you help people in a lot of different variety of ways. And so ultimately we're sharing with them at the end of our discovery call what we have to offer if we think it's a good fit. So so for you, just shift that a little bit. Selling is serving.
I also do I also am a wine consultant, so I have some organic wines that I'm into. So I share those and do tastings for them. So, that
sounds fun.
Yes. Low sugar, hardly any phosphates. It's great. It's a great product.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard that, people are even thinking about that with there's a lot of health conscious people that anything and everything they put in their body, they're considering what it is. So if it's alcohol and it doesn't have all of the fillers and stuff in it,
that's right.
People feel a bit more comfortable drinking that.
Yes.
Like, hey, I could still get my drink on, and then I'm not, adversely affecting my health, right?
Exactly.
And so what you do with that is you're educating people on what is it the benefit of drinking these wines.
That's right.
Who's it for?
Right.
And, you're just sharing with people. And if it makes sense to somebody, they're going to call you up and say, hey, man, I want to try that, Sandy.
Yes. It's great. It's a scout and cellar. And I really, I get their wines. So I went to a tasting and I really liked it. So it's something I can, since I like wine already, it's a passion of mine. Like I love going to wine tastings. I love knowing all the different types of wines across the world. So, it's something that piques my interest, along with history and everything else. So like it kind of lines up with, what I like. So it's easier to share that love of something,
Yeah. And that's something that you're passionate about.
Right.
So offline, I'm going to send you some information too about Alma Waterways. They have a river cruise that goes to the wine region. It's amazing for wine lovers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah. It's a once in a lifetime.
Now we're talking wine.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's after 5.
Yeah, it is.
My time and your time too, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It's 6:24 here. So
there you go. We could talk about wine.
So great. So Anna, okay, if I come to you and I go, I don't know what my superpower is, what's the first thing I should think about?
Well, so sort of what you said, thank you for recapping, is go back to your childhood and think about what did you like doing? And then think about today, what comes natural to you? What is something that you do with ease? And explore that a little further. And it could be more than one thing. And then when you figure out what those things are, try to find out which one of them gives you the most joy. So if it's talking to people, it's listening to people, it's, helping people with their health or their finances. And if you don't know, ask your family and friends, what am I awesome at? Because they will be the first, they'll mirror to you back. They're the first ones to tell you what you're doing that they don't like, right? But they'll also be the first ones to tell you what you're amazing at. And we all everybody needs to know what they're amazing at.
They do.
Don't you agree?
Yes.
So ask your family and friends, what is it that I'm awesome at? What do you think I'm good at? And if those two things don't work, just start thinking about when people call you and ask you to help them with something, what are they asking you to help them with? Are they asking you to help them with math, like my nephew? Are they asking you to help them organize? Like I think I told you before we started the show that my friend just moved across the country. She has a friend who's a professional organizer, and she came and helped her pack. So when she gets to her new home in Nashville, her unpacking is going to be easy because she hired the professional packer.
Oh,
She's
wow.
she's not organized and she's a professional packer. But my friend that moved, she's the wordsmith. She's the person that's
Mhm.
amazing at putting words together. She and I work together. I'll call her and say, I have this great idea and I don't know how to put it down in words. And
Right.
she can just make it sound amazing.
Wow.
So I hope that everybody finds their superpower and
Yes.
you can turn it into a passion, whether you're doing it for your career, whether you're doing it on the side. We all need to live our purpose, and part of living your purpose is knowing what your superpower is. So
That's
once
right.
you know what your superpower is, the sky's the limit. Go for it.
That's
Do
right.
something with that,
That's
knowing
right.
that
That's
superpower.
right.
And I would love to hear from people if they haven't commented below. If you watch
Yes.
the replay, let
Yes,
us know in the
please.
comments because we want to
Yes.
celebrate with you. What's your superpower?
That's right. So yeah, do hashtag replay when you watch it on the replay, because I do have a lot more that watch them on the replay. So thank you for joining me so much, Anna.
Thank you,
Oh,
Sandy. I hope it was informative. I know we kind of
it
went off
was.
track a little bit, but
Yeah.
hopefully it was
Well,
helpful.
yeah.
And
Yes,
I
my
really
my show
enjoyed.
usually does do that. It kind of flows in that way, how it's
Well,
supposed
I
to, I always
enjoyed
think.
speaking with you and
Yes.
finally
Thank
getting to
you.
face
So,
to face with
where
you.
can they find you, Anna, if they want to connect with you on getting some sales coaching?
Sure. So I am on Instagram at savvy.salescoach, or my direct line is 562-403-2344. And I'm happy to set up a discovery call with you and see if I can help find the
Great.
holes in your sales process.
Great. Great. Thank you. And I'm going to be calling you too. So,
Thank you,
thank you
Sandy. You're such
guys.
a nice host, and I had a great time.
Yes, thank you, Anna. So you everybody have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. And I will see you next week. So peace
Time to
out.
drink some wine.
Yes, go and drink some
Bye,
wine.
everyone. Thank you, Sandy.
Bye. Thanks.